is used to connect networks, whereas a switch or a hub is used to connect nodes within a campus or within a building. Did you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, please repeat it, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Okay.
once more.
Yes, what do you want to know? Did you understand LAN, MAN, and WAN?
Pardon, ma'am.
Yes,
LAN, MAN, and WAN is understood?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now the internet allows you to connect these various types of networks, be it LAN, be it MAN, be it WAN. Okay. So local area network is a collection of nodes within a building. Okay. Within a building. There is, of course, a limitation on the number of nodes that can be connected in a building. So let us be reasonable, maybe around, okay, say anything less than 200 or so. So you can connect those many machines in a building. Now, when you have to connect machines together, you make use of a device to interconnect them. So that networking device used to interconnect machines in a building is called as a switch or a hub in a LAN. Did you get this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
okay. Now, in just for the sake of simplicity, in this computer center building, I have one LAN, say LAN 1, and in the main building, I have another LAN, say LAN 2. So if I have to connect LAN 1 and LAN 2, then I'll be making use of another networking device called as the router. Did you understand? So router is used to interconnect networks, whereas switch or a hub is used to connect nodes on a LAN. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Why is it?
Yes,
Why is it?
ma'am.
Yes. Why is it that you need to you need this network? Why do you require networks?
To share the information, ma'am.
To share the information. Very, very good. This
To
is the,
communicate.
yes, this is the primary reason because of which networks were developed. Resource sharing. Okay. Resource sharing is the primary motivation for networks to come up. So when I say resource, it could be, what can a resource be? Somebody said information. Yes, information, communication, physical
Any piece of
devices.
information.
Yeah, and in a network, you must have seen in your lab. Do you have a printer for every machine there?
No, ma'am.
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Generally,
No, ma'am.
yeah, generally for a lab, you'll be having one or two printers. So how is it possible that you people are able to access it? Because your machines are connected. All right. So the primary reason why networks were developed was resource sharing, whether it is information or whether it is physical devices such as printers, etc. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So the internet is the infrastructure. Now, what is the web? Web is nothing but a collection of resources which are interlinked or interconnected. So it's a huge, huge collection of resources that are connected or interlinked. Now, when you're browsing through the web, I hope all of you have browsed through the web. Browsing the web is the right word, but sometimes we say we are surfing the internet. That is okay for that is okay in layman terms, but technically it is not the internet that you are surfing. You are surfing the web. You are browsing the web. So what is it that you do? What is your web experience? Can you tell me what is the experience when you are browsing the web? What do you normally do?
Type the
Search for new
URL.
information.
How do you navigate through the information? Tell me.
in the keyword.
Through the URL.
I'm through links.
Through links, yeah, very good. URL, fine, we'll come to that later. But basically, how do you do it? You have something appearing in blue. There is a hand symbol. You go and click that. Then you are taken to something, some other page. Then again, in that page, you may have a set of links. They are appearing in blue. Now, what can that link be? Is it always only text or what is it?
Audio video.
It's a hyperlink.
Yeah, it's a hyperlink.
It can be
Yeah.
picture also.
Yes, it can be any resource. When I say a resource on the web, what do I mean? A web resource can be text, it can be an image,
Video.
it can be an audio, and it can be a very. So a web resource can be text, it can be image, it can be audio, and it can be video. So web is nothing but a huge collection of all these resources interconnected via what are called as hyperlinks. So what are those hyperlinks? Whatever you see the hand symbol appearing in blue, or on a video you have the arrow symbol, and so on. So all these are nothing but hyperlinks. So when you click on them, you will be traversing the web from one point to another point. So currently you are browsing one particular resource. From this resource, you will be jumping to another resource. Now that resource could be anything. It could again be text, it could be audio, it could be video, or it could be an image. Is that clear? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
Okay, fine. So now there are certain technologies here. On the right side, can you see this? Now, did you understand this particular diagram? So the internet connects the world, and you are surfing it. Generally, you click. So you are clicking it with the help of the mouse. Okay. So that very nicely illustrates the web. Okay. Now on the right side, you see certain technologies, not all of them. You see HTML, you see HTTP, you see web browsers, and so on. There are a lot more, but in this particular diagram, you have some technologies which make the World Wide Web work. We shall see this later. Okay, now coming to this. Next slide. Okay, now internet versus web you have understood fairly well. Yeah, what do you see here? These are two terms. Are they different or are they same?
Different.
Different. The spelling is the same. How are they different?
Case sensitive. They are case sensitive.
Case sensitive, is that all? Yes, it's very clear that the first letter here is lowercase I and the first letter here is an uppercase I. Is that the only difference? Anybody knows about it? Yes, there is definitely a difference in this. But at this level, I really can't expect you to know. Okay, so this internet with the lowercase I is a network of networks. Okay, this internet with the capital I is also a network of networks. This is a specialized internet based on the TCP/IP architecture. Okay. Have you heard of TCP/IP? Anybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What is it?
Yes, ma'am.
It's enough at this point if you just know the full form. I don't expect much because you'll have just entered the department. You will be
No,
studying
ma'am.
more about. Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Somebody said they
No, ma'am.
know what
Transmission
it
control
is.
protocol.
Yes, very good. So TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol and IP stands for Internet.
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 Okay, so you have one very famous architecture that is possible, because of which the internet with capital I is possible. That is the TCP/IP architecture. So there are several layers there, 4 or 5 layers, out of which you have an important layer called network layer, and the protocol that runs on the network layer is the IP. IP stands for Internet Protocol. Okay, did you understand? So it's not just in the case, but there is a difference in these two networks. This internet with capital I is what we all know. It's a specialized internet network of networks based on the TCP/IP architecture. As of now, don't be bothered too much about it. In your computer networks course, you'll be studying more about the TCP/IP architecture. Okay, fine. So that's one term. The next term, protocol, we've already discussed. What is it? It is a set of rules that will allow you to transfer data or documents over a network. We've already seen examples of some examples like FTP, File Transfer Protocol, Telnet, which allows to remotely log in. SMTP is, this has to be, this has to be SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, not STMP. Then you have HTTP. What is HTTP?
Hypertext protocol.
Hypertext transfer protocol.
Very good. Yes. So this is the language of the web. Hypertext transfer protocol is the language of the web. I think all of you know the importance of a language. Okay. You and I are able to communicate because we are following the English language. Likewise, when machines communicate over the web, they require a common language, and that common language is the HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So did you understand what is the web? Web is a huge collection of interlinked resources, and you can traverse through these resources via hyperlinks. And what is the language of the web? The language of the web is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. For some history here, who is the inventor of the web?
Berners-Lee.
Tim
Berners-Lee.
Yes, so we have seen in the video that the inventor of the web is Sir Tim Berners-Lee. So how did it all start? Okay, so Tim Berners-Lee is a British scientist whose parents were also scientists, and he graduated from the Oxford University and started working as a software engineer in CERN, CERN. Have you heard of this? CERN? CERN?
Yes.
Yeah. What is that?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No.
Fine. So CERN is the CERN is the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Okay. It's a huge organization, and this organization operates the largest particle physics laboratory in the world. Okay, so scientists and physicists all over the world come to this organization to share resources. So there are a lot of accelerators installed there. So they work on them, and that is how they progress in particle physics, research on particle physics. Okay, so what Tim Berners-Lee saw was that these scientists had a lot of difficulty in sharing information. Okay, because though the internet was there, information was scattered on different machines, and every scientist had to log on to another machine whenever he required information. And in some worst cases, the scientists had to in fact learn a new language in order to understand what information is there on a particular machine. So Tim Berners-Lee saw that this was a huge problem that the scientists were facing. for information sharing. So then he came up with this idea. So the machines are already connected. You have the internet already. So this was way back in 1989 when the internet had already started. So then he saw a way to solve this problem. What he did was he came up with a document that captured the vision of now what is called the World Wide Web. That vision document was called as the Information Management Proposal. So that was the proposal that he prepared. But as with any good things, the proposal was initially skeptical. It wasn't accepted. And the boss of Sir Tim Berners-Lee, Mike Sendall, he liked the idea. He said, it is vague, but it is exciting. So what he did was, look, Tim, I'll give you some time to work on this. As of now, it's a little skeptical, but nonetheless, I see that it is exciting and has a lot of prospects. So why don't you work on it? Then Sir Tim started working on it. He continued work on it, and he used the Next computers that time. And in around 1990, he wrote the 3 core technologies of the web. You can see here the 3 core technologies of the web: HTTP, URI, and HTML. HTTP, is the language of the web, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. He wrote this. He also wrote URI. URI stands for Uniform Resource Identifier. So every resource on the web is identified by an address. So that address is nothing but the URI. So he wrote this technology, and he also wrote the Hypertext Markup Language. So this is using this technology, you can create web pages. So he wrote these 3, and apart from these 3, he also wrote the first web browser and the first web server. The first web server was HTTPD. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and the D at the end is for daemon. Okay, so HTTP daemon. Daemons, have you heard of what is meant by a daemon? Anybody?
A monster type.
Okay.
Kind of monster.
Okay, fine. So daemon is a server in the context of our community. So daemon is a server process that does important jobs for the system. Okay. So he wrote the HTTPD. HTTPD is a web server. Okay, HTTPD is a web server written by Sir Tim Berners-Lee. So this happened in 1990. Then people started liking it. They were able to share information via this newly created web. And initially, it was only within CERN that people were using it. Though that time it was just text of text. It was just collection of text, not much of media there. But still, it was a better solution than what challenges they were facing earlier. So this web was a new way of sharing information, and they liked it. Then in 1991, people outside of CERN, that is Tim's workplace, were invited to work with the web. So these outside organizations were primarily university-based scientific departments, physics laboratories, academic institutions, and so on. So all these were invited to make use of the web. And everybody liked it, and the web began to grow. It started becoming popular. And then somewhere Tim Berners-Lee, till now Tim Berners-Lee and in general CERN was controlling the web. Then Sir Tim Berners-Lee realized that for the web to be fully exploited, it has to be decentralized. It has to be decentralized. It has to be made available to one and all. Okay. The code, the underlying code has to become royalty free. So in April of 1993, the CERN announced that the web is going to be available for all, everybody, okay? And the underlying code will not have any associated royalty. It became royalty free. So people started using it. Everybody was able to access and use the web. Then in 1994, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, he moved from CERN to Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And here, with a couple of other devoted people, he started the W3C. W3 stands for World Wide Web Consortium, which looks at, developing and keeping these standards of the web. All right. So till date, Sir Tim Berners-Lee remains the director of W3C. Fine. So that's a short history of W3C, and the man behind all this is Sir Tim Berners-Lee. Okay. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So salute to this person. Okay. Now the next topic on the agenda is components of the World Wide Web. We've already come across a few of these. So you have hypertext markup language, HTML. You have the language of the web, hypertext transfer protocol, URIs, uniform resource identifiers. Have you heard of a similar term?
URL.
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 Yes, URI or URL mean the same. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. It can also be called as universal resource identifier, universal resource locator. All are synonymous. Okay. So apart from these three, you also need to have a web server and a web client. Okay. Now, this constitutes the web server, web hardware and software. Okay, here you can see web server, hardware and software. Anybody, what is the meaning of this? Web server hardware. Web server is actually a software, but generally this runs on a machine, and that is called as the web server. Okay, so when I say web server, you can visualize a machine. It's not just the machine, but the web server software that is running on the machine. Okay. Likewise, you have a web client hardware and browser software. So what is a web client? A web client is also called as a user agent, and that is nothing but a browser. So whenever I say a web client, you may visualize it as a machine on which you have the browser software running. Okay. Can you name some browsers?
Google Chrome.
Firefox, Chrome.
Firefox.
Internet Explorer.
Very good. So yes, Internet Explorer, you have Firefox, you have Google Chrome, you have Opera, you have Safari, you have Netscape Navigator, and so on. Okay, so all these are popular browsers. Can you name some web servers?
HTTPS.
Yeah, HTTPS is that's different, but just now I mentioned something called as HTTPD. Okay, that is nothing but a web server. That was the first web server that was written. Nowadays we have two most popular web servers. We shall have a look at them shortly. If not now, maybe in the next class. Okay. So this is broadly, but there is a lot to it. But these are the components of the web as of now. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So using
Yes, ma'am.
HTML, you create web pages. Using HTTP, the client and the server communicate, and how is a resource identified on the web? Using URL. Okay. All right. Yeah. Coming to this diagram. Can you see this diagram? And can you understand what is happening here? Just look at this diagram and tell me what is happening. What is it that you
Transfer of information.
Yes, transfer of information. Good.
Request response cycle.
Request response cycle. Very good. Okay, this internet has to be the capital I internet one, which we are all familiar with. Apart from the internet, we have a web browser here. We have a web server here. So the web browser is going to send a request for a web page. And how does that happen? Yes, imagine you are surfing the web, you are browsing the web. What do?
Hyperlinks.
Hyperlinks, very good. That is one way. Another way?
We write keywords in the browser
Yes?
Domain
by
name.
URL.
Yes? Yeah, very good. So you said it. So one way is you click on some hyperlink, and the other is you could you type an address in the browser's address bar. Okay. So when you do that, you are essentially generating a request for a web page. You are generating a request for a web page. This request, how does it travel over the internet?
In HTTP.
Yes, very good. So this request is nothing but an HTTP request that moves from the client over the internet and reaches the server. Okay. Now, what does the server do?
Identifies the request.
Yes, it identifies what web page is requested. As of now, for simplicity, let us assume it's just a web page. There is a lot to learn, but as of now, for the case of simplicity, let us assume that it is a simple web page that is stored somewhere on the server. Okay, so the web server will identify the web page from its storage, and then that will be sent as what? That will be sent by the server to the client as
Information.
Document or a file.
as information. But what is the terms in our, I mean, what term goes hand in hand with HTTP request?
HTTP.
It is HTTP response. HTTP response. So the web server will send the web page, the requested web page, as an HTTP response. So this HTTP response travels over the internet to reach the browser. Now, what does the browser do? It will render the web page on your screen. Now, it has a component called as a rendering engine, which will render the web page. Now, the web page, is it just having text? No, it can have text, it can have image, it can have audio, it can have video. So, the rendering engine in the web browser is going to assemble all these pieces and show it up on the screen for you. Is that understood? So what is the role of the client? The role of the client is,
Assemble the
Send a request.
yeah, it is to generate the HTTP request and send it. Then the request travels over the internet and reaches the web. server. What is the role of the web server? Identify
Identifies the request.
identify the request, search for it, and then generate HTTP response. And this response travels over the internet and comes to the web browser. Then it is the responsibility of the rendering engine of the web browser to assemble it and display the web page. Is that understood?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do we have time to go ahead? All right. Let us see if we can do this quickly. The web server. So what is a server? Server, as the name suggests, it is going to provide some service. Okay. So here in our context, we have the web server, which will deliver documents. When I say documents, it is not necessarily text. It could be text, image, audio, and video. So a web server will listen to the request sent by a client. It will deliver the requested resource back to the client. Okay. So you have various servers. Here we are talking of web server, but you likewise for various services you have various servers. For FTP service, you have the FTP server. For email service, you have the email server. For remote login service, you have the telnet server, and so on. Okay. So here we are talking of the web server, whose primary responsibility is to listen to the requests by the web client or the browser, generate whatever is needed, and send it back as an HTTP response. Fine. So web server software along with the machine, generally call it as web server. Two popular web servers are Apache server, which is a free software. I request somebody to, somebody's microphone is on, please turn it off. So we have the most popular web server, which is the Apache server which is freely available. It comes pre-installed with Mac machines. And another popular server is the IIS from Microsoft Internet Information Server, which belongs to the Microsoft family of servers. We stop here because we don't have, we have reached the end of the class. But as of now, what all did we cover? We've seen the difference between the internet and the web. We've seen what is a protocol. We've seen a very interesting brief history of the web. This great man, because of whom we are able to do all this. Yes, we are able to do this because of the web, and web attributes its success to Sir Tim Berners-Lee. We've seen the components of the web, and we've seen this very broad diagram of how the information is served up. And we have seen what is the web server and the two popular servers, the Apache web server and the Microsoft IIS. Okay, let us stop here. I'll be sharing the link of quiz 2. I'm sharing it in the chat window. And I'll also be sharing it on WhatsApp. Please complete the quiz right away. We shall stop here and meet on Friday in your respective classes, and then next Thursday. Good day.
We're going to have a feedback session.